This is one of my favorite topics to talk about because it's literally foundational for everything. Hi, I'm naomiolutayo, the brand priestess, and today I want to talk to you about alignment, pleasure, and how you need to expand your capacity for pleasure to build an alignment as a spiritual woman founder of a product brand. First things first, alignment and pleasure are twins and mirrors. They mirror each other and they're also the same, pretty much the same. That's why they mirror each other. There is no alignment without pleasure, and there is no true pleasure without alignment. Let me break it down. When you experience pleasure that is free, no strings attached, meaning there is no leash to it, it's regenerating, expansive, what you are experiencing is alignment. Alignment is when every single variable in the equation is congruent with each other. There's no contradictions. So how does this have to do, what does this have to do with pleasure? Let me explain. But there's a few more points I gotta get to before I get to it, but I'm explaining. When your threshold is low for pleasure, you resist alignment. In other words, or inversely, when you resist alignment, you have a low threshold for pleasure. And when you do have a low threshold, you default to confusion, chaos, or proving. What is chaos, confusion, or proving? Dissonance. In the equation, there are contradictions. For example, chaos. If you've been in an abusive situation, you know chaos. Like for me, I grew up with narcissistic family members. They might claim they want peace, but then they start the drama. That's dissonance. There's lack of congruence in the equation. Therefore, there is no pleasure. Are you following? So, in order to understand what the threshold of pleasure is, I want to give you a framework to base that threshold on. There are three things. The first one is self-worth. Do you believe that you deserve this? Fill in the blank. Am I worthy of feeling this good? Next is your nervous system. Can I maintain goodness in my body for prolonged periods of time? And lastly, conviction, which is what truths or desires am I unwaveringly committed to? That could be any dominant truth that you have within you. It doesn't have to be conscious. It could be on a subconscious level. So based off of your self-worth, your nervous system, and your conviction, your level of conviction, is how you will determine your threshold for pleasure. The easiest way to test your threshold for pleasure is seeing how easy it is for you to receive unreciprocal pleasure, sexual pleasure from a partner. That's the easiest way. If it's difficult for you to receive that kind of pleasure, just unreciprocal, just pure focus on you, you may have a lower threshold for pleasure. Like if you are in a sexual situation and someone, I want you to imagine it. Just strictly imagine it. Imagine being with your husband or the man of your dreams, whatever it is, and they just spend the whole session just focused on you, loving you, not just physically, but with their words, with their energies. They're adoring you. They're devoted to you. They're just enamored with you. They're worshiping you. Can you think through that? Like, can you imagine being seen in that kind of way, and them knowing you, seeing through you, having experienced you at your lowest and your highest, and them just, despite it all, them just bearing their soul through this sexual act to you? Can you receive that? Does it feel awkward to you? Them just sweet talking you, them just talking you through it, whatever it looks like. Like, just think of it like the most romantic way. If you can't, if it seems cringy to you, if it seems kind of off, or if you can't even imagine it at all, or it just seems like maybe you would feel like pressure to just reciprocate, you might have a lower level threshold of pleasure than you may realize. Another way that you can test your threshold for pleasure is by how much time you can take for yourself in the middle of obligations and others' needs. And you can really see this in motherhood or just taking care of children in general. If you have like this immense guilt doing something that you love, like if you feel bad not dropping like abandoning your responsibilities, but if you can't leave the office because you don't want to leave, if you don't want to leave like your employees there because they're just micromanaging, you just can't get away. Or let's say you have kids and your husband saying, or your partner, whatever it is, they're saying, hey, I want you to just go out and have some time and do whatever. I know you've been working a lot. I want you to go just relax. And you can't relax. You're out there at the club or the movies, wherever you decide to go to relax. You're just like, oh man, I hope everything's okay. I hope he's not messing up my kids, or I just hope, whatever it is, you just can't relax. That's another indicator that your threshold for pleasure is lower. And the last way you can tell your threshold for pleasure is by how easily you can lean into whimsy openly without shame. Like, can you be silly? Can you just let go of like a serious persona and just kind of be free? Like, if you felt like doing a cartwheel in the middle of the mall because you genuinely felt like it, could you do that? Or let's say you just feel like singing as you're walking down the street because you just love the song that's playing in your headphones. Could you do that? Depending on how you answer will tell you your threshold for pleasure. Now, I wanted to give you a framework for this so the rest of the video will make a little bit more sense. So when it comes to building an alignment, if you struggle with pleasure, which is bliss, happiness, etc., you will always struggle to build an alignment and structural integrity. Why? Few reasons. Because you won't believe that you are worthy, deserving, or capable of that level of desire. Where did desire come from? Let me give you a phrase. Alignment with your highest vision, your original divine given highest vision, is built from pleasure, aka creative energy, aka desire. This vision that you have was not something that you just did casually because you wanted to make a lot of money. Like, yes, we all want to make a lot of money, but also you had an encounter with the divine and they placed this in your womb to incubate, and has been incubating, or you've been in the process of birthing it all this time. But this is not something that you can just use willpower and force to create. This is literally your partnership with the Holy Spirit to bring it onto earth in full materialization for the betterment of the collective and also for the advancement of your bloodline. So this is a special thing that you're doing. So because this is literally given to you to birth this immaterialization in fullness and integrity, or when I say integrity, I mean completeness. Like I said, you can't use force and willpower. You have to use your creative energy. And all creative energy is sexual energy. That is your life force energy. And that can only be birthed through desire. There is nothing in your life that has been materialized consciously that has not come from desire, unless you're forcing yourself otherwise. And I would debate that's not creation. If you are disconnected from your body, the parts of you that desires, that wants, that yearns, that craves, that hungers, it's going to be difficult for you to materialize this. It's going to be difficult for you to feel pleasure. Because remember, alignment brings congruence. It brings happiness. Pleasure is happiness, is bliss. If you fear the intimacy that comes with that level of visibility, of that level of happiness, you're going to resist alignment. The vision you have is what you desire. A lot of times we move around it because we might not feel worthy of it. We might feel like it's not possible. We might not even believe that we can get what we desire. We believe we have to settle within the confinements of the system. But when you get to a place where you can tolerate just the pleasure of creation, the pleasure of wanting, that childlike wonder of imagination. Like, oh, I would love to have a ballerina giraffe. Like, who has a ballerina giraffe? But the kid has that level of whimsy to desire and to think. And it's through that childlike whimsy that you can create this vision. The vision that you have is incredible. It's expansive. It's ahead of its time. It's new. That's why God chose your womb to bring it out. It needs your DNA. It needs your mind, your expertise, your personality, your leadership to bring it out. But when you resist pleasure, when you have trouble tapping into that part of you that wants, that yearns, that craves, that hungers, you will always resist alignment. And when you build out of alignment, inevitably, your brand will not. At most, your brand will not fulfill the purpose that you know you have. It will not have the kind of impact that you desire. It will suppress itself. It will shrink. It will become digestible, and it will turn into a monster that you haven't even planned for from the beginning. You couldn't have even imagined. And at least your company will become dismantled. You'll become overshadowed by competitors because you can't win being digestible to a degree. But as a spiritual Black woman founder, your success is found in your alignment. Alignment is necessary to fulfill this vision, to materialize and birth this vision out from your womb. It is a requirement, it is a standard, and there can be nothing else, because without it, what you're building is not what you're seeing in your mind's eye. And now you're subjected to the unfair rules of capitalism, and we all know how that goes. If you are a spiritual Black woman founder and you're not in my newsletter, Letters from My Living Room, I don't know what you're doing. I send frequent activations, calibrations, and alignment to help you stand in the full conviction that you need to lead your brand into full alignment. And when I say full alignment, I mean full structural integrity and full materialization of the vision that God has given you. Click the link down below so you can be first on the list to receive my letters. I send a couple out a week depending on what I feel released to impart. But if you are on this process of alignment and you are dealing with the natural consequences of realignment and whether it's a backlash or it's just having to learn to lead in a different way than you were taught in business school, I need you in these newsletters. I need you in these newsletters today. But anyways, that is for my video today. I hope it resonated with you deeply, and I know it will, especially if you're here. I am posting every single day this September, and so I would love for you to subscribe and click the bell so you'll be notified when I upload my next video. Anyways, I thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.